All right, just a very quick video on the portfolio update on my side. So as you know from my last video, I bought some miners yesterday, so Friday, intraday, chasing the miners, something I never do. I always like to buy on a big red day, at least it's something to look forward to. But actually I went against my usual behavior and chased, and that's because I think that the miners are going up. I've thought that for a few days. They have been going up. I'm happy generally with the size of my miners. There were one or two that I thought I was a little light on, which is why I chased them. And there are one or two that hadn't actually sort of caught up with the GDXJ, and I just thought they were sort of oversold relative to other miners. So yeah, for those two reasons, I bought maybe 5 or 6 miners in total. I'm going to go through those now. So no point in going through the markets. I've got sort of 50-minute video, which I also rarely ever do, covering what I think is going on in the markets and all the sectors. Just to start off with GDXJ, you can see where we are here. We closed sort of middle of these two trend lines. I mean, we touched the top part. We're going to go straight back up there on Monday. I think we'll actually open above it. Let's see. I mean, obviously we could have a big red gold day, but I think it's going to be a big green gold day, because I think gold will start the day off, I mean, Asian hours, let's say Sunday, late Sunday for me, when Asian trading starts. I think gold will be above 2000 actually. And the Asians loved gold, remember that. So they'll push it up. Let's just hope it holds and continues, by the time the US markets open. And if they do, I do expect the miners to be opening up in between these two channels here. So let's say between 37.5 and 40.5. And look, if we do start to climb all the way up here, I don't expect that to be on Monday alone, but next week, if we do start to come up here, I will trim the smallest amount, and then I'll give it another 1 or 2 days. If we fail to go higher, then I'll probably trim a little bit more, at least what I bought on Friday. But I mean, it's, for me, it's natural to sell at resistance, but I'm just being a little different this time, famous last words, because it's different. This is a financial crisis, and this is the very beginning. This could be something that takes months, that could be historic, sort of unprecedented, record breaking. So I think in such moments you can give it 1 or 2 extra days or break 1 or 2 rules, which is what I did. So anyway, that's the GDXJ. And remember, we've got gold testing 2000 essentially. Let's just open gold up. If I zoom out, let's just do the weekly. This is where we are. We're 1 or 2 days away from new all-time highs, period. And in other currencies, I think the Indian ruble, what is it, ruble, whatever it's called, the Indian currency, for some reason I can't think about it at the moment, that made new highs. I think Canadian dollar, it's either there or about to be. To be honest, it's about to be in the dollar, so it wouldn't surprise me if all the other currencies are encountering the same. So gold about to make new highs. GDXJ, look at that weekly chart. Now, I'm not saying we should be up here, but we should be up here. I understand why we're not. I know that it's irrational. But the point is we should be at least here, 65. Or you could make a case that we should be testing at least this part of the descending line, which is why I wouldn't be surprised if this really starts to catch up with gold. Silver too, by the way. Let's just look at silver very quickly. Zoom out on the absolute weekly, you can see that I think we're going to get up here, the top part of the resistance, this descending resistance, the close above it, very quickly move to 30. Obviously that will take some doing. Gold going at $2,100, silver has to just, and it will, I'm sure about this. If you start seeing gold at $2,100, silver's just going to have 10% days easily. I mean, not many people have witnessed that. I think I may have witnessed a few days like that. I mean, look at this day here. Remember the corona. I mean, everyone had this crazy move, but gold and silver really had an extraordinary move. I remember silver down here, I couldn't believe it, but likewise I couldn't believe the move up. But once we have silver sort of closing above 24, 25, especially out of this descending downtrend line, I think you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days and it's straight away up at 30. And after 30, I mean, look, you're going to find resistance on the way. You're going to have big smackdowns. But I don't know what it would look like. But, look, when silver's on the run, it just keeps going. A squeeze. And Let's see. But if silver starts to move up, then the GDXs, the seniors, I can imagine them all the way up here, which is pretty close to the all-time high. Imagine you have the GDX, just the seniors, all the way testing the top zone. If gold's at 2,100, silver's at 30, how much more does it take? Just imagine, it'll be extraordinary stuff, but 40-50%, that can be done in 1 month, no, 1 or 2 months. A delayed massive move. GDXJ, I mean, this will take more, but the point is these are huge moves. And if you choose the correct stocks, maybe the GDXJ, just as an example, 300-400% move. There are some miners within the GDXJ, or just maybe not in it, but are the equivalent. They're also juniors. They can do 20x, completely outdo this ETF. So anyway, this is just a general barometer. Let's look at the actual stocks I bought. It's just to give you an idea of why I chased the miners, because gold's all the way at historic levels, silver is not, the miners are really not, and they have a lot of catching up to do, especially the silver juniors. So let's look at the portfolio. I'm only going to concentrate on the actual miners. So I'll end here on the Reyna. Starting off with Newmont, which has been the stock I'm heaviest in since I poorly bought this drop here. I think it was 52 down here. My first buy 52, yeah, and the next day just bad earnings. Straight away doubled in, and I was just heavily in, added a bit more, then started to trade it, and I traded it very well. So I'm above average already. I've sold a lot over here. I mean, I'm very, very much in the green on this, so no problem. So I did not buy this. I'm still too heavy in this relative to others. So no trades on Newmont. Oh no, actually, sorry, that's not true. I did actually sell a little bit a few days ago, just little trims, because I have too much in it, and I just thought that gold might pull back, or the miners would follow the market down. It's when I wasn't sure whether the miners would follow the market down or follow gold up, and plus I was too heavily in it. So I thought, all right, let me just trim Newmont. And if I'm wrong, I benefit because I'm still holding long by a lot. So only selling Newmont, haven't sold in 1 or 2 days actually, but no buys. Agnico-Eagle, no buys, no sells in a while. I sold all the way up here. I bought a little bit down here. I wanted to buy more, but when I checked on Friday, I thought, can't buy after such a big move. Although to be honest, I'm looking at it again this weekend. I'm thinking maybe you should, because this is probably the best senior. I mean, for me, Newmont, Agnico, and Barrick Gold, you can't really go wrong there. So I'm thinking about buying a bit more, but it's just on this big move, I thought, nah. And also I was looking at others, and I started to buy others because their charts relative to Agnico-Eagle had not moved up as much. So Newmont, no trades, just a little sell. Agnico-Eagle, nothing. Barrick Gold, I bought on this drop, so very happy. Actually, this one I was very much underexposed, so I was very happy to add quite a lot here. And now I'm very satisfied. It's worth the same as Agnico-Eagle, Wheaton, Pan America. It was worth like a third of those. So on this drop, I really added to Barrick Gold. It's now worth the same. Otherwise, no trade. Wheaton, no trade. Look at this, all the way up here. Even down here, when the miners had come down, it hadn't come down as much as the others. The others were all the way down here, some of them even lower. So no buy, no sell. Pan American Silver, I did buy all the way down here, but recently no trade. I did think about adding because it's a big silver stock, and I'm thinking it can go up here easily, break out. If silver breaks out, this is when I may chase later at a higher price, believe it or not, if I see silver really acting well, like 24, 25 or something, and I can see that Pan America wants to run and not just test 20, but close above it and go test this line and maybe even keep going, then I may add a little bit more to Pan America. But otherwise, no trade. Goldfields, no trade. Why? Because I added so much on this drop, and it's moved so much since. Beautiful trading in Goldfields. I sold this part here. I bought back. I sold this part. I left it. I remember buying a little bit down here and bought a lot more here. And now I actually haven't. I don't know if I sold a little bit, but it was almost not worth mentioning. It's very small trim, but Goldfields worth a lot now. It's actually worth more than Agnico-Eagle, which was never the case before. But yeah, no plans to add because look at this crazy move it's already had. Plus, it's worth a lot. for me. And you know, as usual, if it goes all the way up here, I'll probably sell a little bit, you know, like 12.79, just get something in there, keeping it at the correct value. Remember, that's what I always do. I always keep it at a certain value. And actually, I might as well tell you what that value is for the seniors. For me, 4,000 $4,000 is for me enough, you know. And if you've sort of got 15, 20 miners, for me that's enough. I can make, for me, enough money trading that certain amount, and for me that's a sort of heavy bag, you know. So yeah, Mag Silver, this one I did add. This is the first one I added on the chase, if I can say that. So all the others I've mentioned so far, I've bought back, you know, much low, and the miners went all the way down, so that doesn't count. But Mag Silver I bought yesterday, Friday, chasing miners, and you can see why. You know, let me click on any of these other ones. Look at this, all the way up here, Mag Silver, all the way down there. Now I know they had bad news. I think they're going to dilute. I don't care. It's a good stock. And trust me, when the sector goes crazy, people just buy everything. And Mag, you know, let me zoom out more. Look, it's a senior stock for me. And by the way, I'll tell you this now, I'm not a connoisseur of all these miners. You know, I don't know their balance sheets that well. I couldn't tell you where they all operate. I couldn't tell you the CEO names for most of them. And, you know, although I sort of invest in this sector heavily and I follow it a lot, I can't get myself to care enough to do all that due diligence, you know. For those of you who do, then buy a newsletter or whatever it is you do. If you do it on your own, then respect. But I just don't have the time or the attention span. But, you know, obviously I follow basic news and I read on them every day, but I just don't know the ins and outs. But anyway, the point is I know that they had some bad news. And also another reason I don't do all this due diligence is that the price movement tells you more than anything else. It's going down, there's something bad. But I also know that in trading, look at this, we've got a triple, quadruple top. We know that gold and the miners are going up. Trust me, if the miners go up, if gold and the miners go up Monday, this thing will break out of here and we'll probably run all the way up here, $14. So, you know, 12.50, probably less, 12.35 breakout, all the way up to 14, good enough for me. So yeah, I chased Mag. This one, Gran Colombia, I also chased. You can see it's similar. It's sort of, okay, obviously it's moved up. Everything's going crazy, but hasn't moved up that much. And this one, I don't think there is bad news, actually. So I don't think its underappreciation is warranted. So Mag and Gran Colombia were chased. First Majestic was not chased because I bought it all the way down here. On the breakdown day of here, I think I remember making a video saying I bought the low. And I usually really do get the lows. That's something I'm quite proud of. The lows and the highs. I know no one gets the lows and the highs, but I sometimes really do. First Majestic, I got the low. I did say in my video, look, it was a bit risky, but for me, First Majestic is worth it. And honestly, I trimmed. I forgot how much I put in here. I trimmed half of it there, never bought back, kept going, never sold. So I've got half of what I bought down here. And to be honest, because of the amount I put in and because of the percentage moves, it means First Majestic is now worth more than most. It's like another 4K for me, which is enough. So it's a heavy holding. I do know that it's had bad news, but I do believe in this stock. A lot of people do. It's a bit of a cult stock. I did not chase this one, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because I have enough in it. And yeah, it could definitely run all the way to 8, let's say, just below, or even higher, of course, if the silver squeeze takes place. And I remember there was that day, I think it was 2021, where the silver squeeze was on. And for me, Sunday night, Asian trading starts. It was like things were up 33%, and everyone thought the squeeze is on, like silver above 30, I think it was. And I had stocks up 20-30%, and I was selling that pre-market. I remember even my brother saying, no, it's just going to begin. Why are you selling? I said, yeah, but just out of general principle. And in the end, that was the high. So I'll always sell, no matter how much I believe in something. It's just, and it always ends up being the wise thing to do. Anyway, First Majestic didn't trade it. It didn't add to it, sorry. Fortuna, I did. Even though it hasn't come down as much as the others. It's a good stock. I don't think there's much bad news. In fact, I think there was good news, which is why it hasn't come down too much. But the move up, I mean, look, think about what's happened the last few days in miners. Fortuna had a red day on Thursday, and the Friday was just sort of making up for the Thursday. So for me, this is going to go all the way up here at least, and probably keep going. I mean, let's just zoom out Fortuna. So the point is, it hasn't moved up much. The reason I never actually added to this since the miners topped out up here, because I wanted it to come down like the others. I was buying all the others. You know, look at Goldfields smack down. Which one in particular? I mean, first Majestic smack down. You know, you got these coming all the way back down. I'll buy those. Fortuna, I didn't because it hasn't come down yet. You know, there are other better buys. But on the way up, the others have made massive moves, and that's why I've added to Fortuna. EXK I did not add because I bought down here basically, and it's already made a big move. Corp I did add to. You can see why. It's come all the way back down, hasn't bounced much, so I added there. I realize it's weak. I realize if the miners and gold, silver goes down, this is going to crush down here. I have a decent amount in here. It's not too much, not too little. And I thought, look, if we move up, like I said, everything will move up. So CDE straight up to 360, basically 4 very quickly. You break out of here. If I just zoom out, you know, this is one of my favorite ones when it comes to running high. I mean, you know, the first chart I was looking at the beginning, the GDXJ zoomed out. Let's just look at CDE zoomed out. And this is unrealistic stuff, all right? I've learned that this means nothing, but it's still quite funny to look at. And obviously there's dilution. There's a lot of reasons. It'll never go up there. But, you know, don't be worried for chasing a stock like all the way down there. It doesn't matter if it goes to 320 or even 350. Chasing it at 350 or chasing it at 3 is the same thing in the grand scheme of things. You know, you zoom out just a little bit, you realize, okay, this thing can get to 10 pretty quickly. Not quickly, but it can get to 10. It is possible to get to 10. If gold and silver really do make new highs. And wait a minute, gold could be doing that on Monday or at least next week. So that's why I bought Corp. Not the best silver stock, but probably the best when it comes to how much it hasn't rallied since this big move in the sector. So CD I did buy, Discovery I did buy. This one, however, is a very good mine in my opinion. It's again, I don't know too much, but you know, I've read a bit. I hear other people that I trust more than me, let's say, who really follow this sector like an encyclopedia. You know, I've heard good things about Discovery and I've watched it a lot. I've been invested in it a lot. And I've been trading this little pump here. I bought this drop here. I sold this pop, bought the drop, didn't sell this, but then bought more on Friday. Why? Because look how low it went recently. And this one should move with silver big time. And it did. And it says it closed at 5%, but it was doing 11% or something during the day. And I really, really wouldn't be surprised if it's trading in the 90s on Monday if gold and silver are up strong. And that's a huge move. You know, that's another 20% move. And to be honest, if gold and silver really are moving, Discovery, I'll say it, Discovery should easily be in the 2s. If there's a big move in the gold and silver price that sustains, Discovery will be around 2, like before. Okay, obviously it didn't hold the 2s too much, but it will test 2. And that's a massive move, you know, 150%. So Discovery I did buy, and now I've got the 3 juniors. For me, they're juniors. I actually bought all 3 of these because the juniors haven't moved. Turmalina, which I traded a lot all the way up here. I mean, I sold. Down here, I bought once or twice, small amounts, and actually I just did another small amount. So now I'm maxed out. I've got a certain value I want to add to the juniors. Basically, 2,000 for me is the max because I don't, you know, they can go to 0. So I've got all 3 of these at 2K, and I added to them for the last time to make it 2K on Friday. And as you can see why. I mean, juniors have very little liquidity, and for me, if it moves all the way up to 40 something, and we're at 27. So obviously these moves are huge, and I'm not even taking into account the real moves that can happen. And I remember this trading up here, you know, whilst the miners are doing very well. Look at this, $1 something. There's no point in torturing yourself or dreaming too much, but you know, these moves definitely can happen. The juniors is where it really happens. So I've only got 3 juniors. I got burnt in juniors before. I also made good money in juniors, but I just prefer the more medium and senior ones because I can predict them more. I have a better ratio, like win-loss ratio. So even though overall you make less, you're more likely to win. So I prefer that. I prefer a guaranteed win than a less guaranteed super win. So Turmalina I bought, you can see why. Trillium, which had some news pending the other day, is like halted. I thought, my God, it's going to zero. And then it had some sort of a merger or acquisition news, which was actually quite bullish. And I thought, okay, well, you've basically gone all the way down. And again, this is one that I've known since here. You've basically gone down all the way to almost zero. You finally come out with news. It's good news. The sector's going up. How about I just top you up again and then bring it to 2K? Let's see what happens. Because if this thing moves, I'm probably going to make more money in this than anything else. And if I lose 2K, I don't care because I'm at least making that at the very least on an okay day in gold. So that's acceptable. But look at this. You could make 100% just to get back to where you were just several weeks ago. So you could have a day like that any day. And Reyna Silver I added to. This one also traded very well, sold it up here, made videos about it. Down here, I really wasn't in a hurry because there were other better stocks coming down. I bought a little bit here, obviously, just above this 20 zone. And then actually, I added a bit more here because, I mean, look, we're coming out of the gates. Maybe there's no bad news as far as I can tell. Again, I don't know too much about the mines, but you know, you could have a little 100% move just to get back to where you were a few weeks ago. And there's no bad news. This is just technical trading. Like people sold like me here, and then it sort of was left for dead. And now the whole sector's going up. And again, this thing could, you know, zoom out, look where it was trading regularly. I remember interviews with the CEO, some Mexican guy, when it was around $1 on a regular basis. And here we are at 20 cents. So it's huge potential in these juniors. Huge. And they're not bad. They're just not wanted during the crazy periods that we've seen. So anyway, just to recap once more, what did I buy on Friday? I bought Mag Silver, Gran Colombia, Fortuna, Coeur d'Arlene, Discovery, and then these three, Turmalina, Trillium, and Reyna. Just remember that by heart. So that's it. I hope you found that of use. Let me know otherwise. Or if you know other stocks that you prefer, let me know. I might just buy them too because I'm not the greatest connoisseur, but I like to go with the charts too. But cool. Thanks.